Everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Happy Memorial Day to everybody. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Um, yeah, let's. I want to discuss something real quick with you guys, and I think it's just me as an observer to this, and I've talked about this topic so many times, but every time something happens, I feel like it sparks this debate. Last time it was because of, I guess them removing content from certain streaming platforms. This time it's because of the whole Netflix password sharing debacle. And I want to talk about that real quick with you guys. And you guys can feel free to put in your input if you guys want to. But I've always talked about how I feel like digital streaming has been, I guess, wearing a costume a little bit on whether or not it's been convenient to the world. It may have been convenient when it was only Netflix. I remember a time when Netflix actually had multiple different properties from different, I don't know, different companies. So, they would have like Food Network stuff mixed with Disney and Nickelodeon and, stuff like that. But now all these companies are dipping their hand into the streaming service thing, right? Now, back when Netflix actually started, and they were doing streaming and stuff like that, I think it was a huge deal. It definitely evolved and changed the game for a lot of people when it came to, wanting to watch movies and TV shows. Personally, I was more interested in collecting my childhood at the time. I just started my page growing up in the 90s, and I just showed more interest in actually owning my content. I was an advocate for that because I used to always talk about how I went to a video store, rented a movie, or rented a VHS of a TV show that I liked. Whether or not you guys agree with me is a totally different scenario. I'm not really looking for people to agree or disagree with me. But I do want you guys to share your opinions, all right? But Netflix is starting to make me feel like we're in an era of, we're in an era where this might actually be a platform that's dying. I want to bring up music's history when it comes to music and the many different ways that you were able to listen to music. Back when I was a kid, cassette tapes and CDs were reigning supreme. And then, of course, we had the MP3 player come along in the early 2000s. We had iPods and, Zunes and what have you. But people weren't actually buying the music. They were bootlegging it off of LimeWire. And, a lot of music companies were talking about how the digital theft of music was actually harming the artists and the companies and stuff like that. So I never really understood till now where they were coming from. And, I know people are going to probably laugh at this idea, but eventually movies kind of fell into the same category when it came to piracy. It was destroying all these movie companies because they were relying on one platform, physical media. And I'm saying this because I noticed at one point back in 2012 that piracy was up because they were wanting to buy movies or access movies that were not available on Netflix or weren't available to the masses. They weren't going out to Walmart finding these movies. Netflix wasn't streaming them. All these different things. People were starting to bootleg because it seemed convenient. Okay? And it happened with, like I said, it happened with music. It's happening with movies now. But do you want to know what the next step is? Guys, do you remember when people weren't collecting vinyl? Like, I'm falling into that whole category, and every time I go into a store, like a Walmart or a Target or something, they have a whole section dedicated to vinyl, like records. And that, I believe, has been for the longest time the most, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? The vinyl records have actually been the thing that people have been using the most when it comes to music. Like, people are buying. There's an all-time record sale on vinyl records today in 2023. People are actually buying vinyl records at an all-time high, not because I believe that people are really wanting to listen to the music, but because it's trendy. It's something that catches the eye. People look at it as something that they're interested in. And I think right now we're kind of in a dry spell when it comes to physical media for movies, that eventually, because Netflix is shooting themselves in the foot with this whole, password sharing thing, eventually movies are actually going to go through the same scenario. I've watched Wet Movie 1 and, all these other people that go do movie hunting and stuff like that. Their movie sections and stuff are dry as a bone. And it sucks because it feels like, I'm starting to see this a lot, is these big companies, stores, are starting to take it upon themselves to think that people are not interested in physically buying a movie anymore because everybody's talking about a specific show that's out on Netflix. Hey, did you hear about Wednesday? Wednesday's a great show. Oh, do we carry that on the shelves? No, it's exclusive to Netflix. People are more interested in these, in the moment popularity shows that do not have physical releases. And, while there are some one-hitters every once in a while with Netflix, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of flops. They cancel a lot of good shows as well. I think Netflix is actually fixing to die. It is a sinking ship, unfortunately. And that's just my opinion. Most people are not going to agree with me. But I do believe Netflix is actually fixing to go the way of the dodo bird. And this is what's hilarious about this situation, is they're making all the wrong moves in alienating their fan base or their streamers. The people that make them the money, they're wanting to ask for more money. And that means they're desperate for money. They see their quarterly projection of, oh, hey, how much money did we make versus last year type thing. Oh, well, there's a huge gap in what we see here. Yeah, let's go ahead and start charging people for sharing their passwords. That'll work. That'll make us more money. You know how many people I've seen that have actually said that they've completely unsubscribed from Netflix? I've seen that comment does not stray from my eyes, and every time I see someone talking about Netflix or a news article about Netflix or anything like that, someone's always talking about how they have unsubscribed because they do not feel like it's right for them to start charging for you to share with your family and friends. Netflix used to actually pride themselves in being able to promote that, actually. Their Twitter at one point actually said, real family is sharing your password with your family and friends. They actually made that Twitter post at one point. They prided themselves in that option. Now they want to charge you for it. The other thing with streaming services, there are too many of them. Too many streaming services, and the price keeps going up. The price of a streaming service nowadays, if you want to subscribe to either Netflix or HBO Max or Disney Plus, that's going to be close to about $40 right there. Just those three. And I don't think people want to pay that much to watch a few select TV shows because, let's be honest, streaming services, we're spending most of the time actually just scrolling through and trying to see what to watch, I know that a lot of people talk about how some of this stuff is convenient, and I would agree that it's convenient only in one way, that they include TV shows that you can't get physically sometimes. I mean, for the love of God, we've got shows on Disney Plus that are not available physically. Like, you can't officially get a copy of, like, the Mighty Ducks, cartoon, or, what are some other examples? Geez. There are a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of stuff out there that you cannot get physically that are only available on streaming. That's the only way I see as convenient. But the downside and the drawback is having all these different streaming services trying to sell you all this different stuff all at once. Where you could just go to a store, hey, I want to watch Transformers. Oh, cool, the complete series for like $30. There you go. There's that. pair that off with another DVD. You can go to eBay and possibly pick up a. Let me use another example. Hey, you want to watch first season of SpongeBob? I don't know. This is like $10, $15 online. You know, it just, I've been collecting for 10 years, and I've never felt like it's been hard for me to afford buying a movie every once in a while, especially on Black Friday, where you are able to get like, buy one get one free deals, or just in general movies and TV shows like half the price that they usually are. I got my copy of the TV show Friends for $20 on Black Friday at one point, and that was the reason why I'm bringing that up. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I see people commenting, "Hey guys, TK, I can never find anything on Netflix anyway." Yeah, well, I mean, they're kind of running out of ideas. Knives Out, Glass Onion will never be on Blu-ray thanks to Netflix. This is the thing. This is the sucky thing about, streaming services. While there are 100 negative things that you can say about streaming services, there is a small little nugget of positivity in there somewhere. And, the positive thing is that they have made original content, and they have brought things back and continued franchises through their streaming services. Like I really like that they brought back that 70s show. I really enjoyed that 90s show. Guys, that is like the perfect thing. One of my favorite sitcoms mixed with one of my favorite decades. I pride myself in knowing I built an empire off the 90s. I got a Facebook page called Growing Up in the 90s I created almost 13 years ago. It's almost at 200,000 followers. And I pride myself in being very knowledgeable of nostalgia. So when they announced that 90s show and it was a continuation of the Point Place kids, I was like, my mind was blown, and I was like, I'm all in for it. And then they announced the Power Ranger special, Once and Always. I haven't been excited about Netflix except those 2 different times. I didn't care about Stranger Things or Wednesday or any of that stuff. Those shows don't appeal to me like it does to other people. I mean, it does feel like, most of the time, though, unfortunately, Stranger Things and, Wednesday, I'm putting that in with the goth crowd. Those are the people who are interested in those shows. You walk into a Hot Topic, that's the first thing you see is Wednesday, The Addams Family, Stranger Things. Those are the things that are in the forefront. It's the new like Gurr from freaking Invader Zim. Everybody wants to appeal to that dark content, I guess. And it's okay. I'm not like a huge fan of everything Netflix puts out that's considered popular. I don't think it's fun. I've tried to watch Stranger Things and maybe watch the first season, and I never got into it any further. It takes a lot to really kind of drag me into a new TV show, right? But yeah, like I said, streaming services, yeah, it feels like sometimes there's just nothing to watch on Netflix anymore. All these shows that they used to have that people wanted access to, their companies have decided to branch it off into their own streaming services. And that's why I feel like eventually, once Netflix dies, these other companies are going to kind of panic a little bit and realize that they're kind of just killing a whole, I guess, a whole platform for people to be able to watch movies and TV shows. We'll probably end up actually going back to people bootlegging stuff, and who knows, maybe we'll end up just killing Hollywood altogether. like we kind of make or break whether or not a movie or TV show is popular, the viewers. And if you alienate your viewers and you alienate the people who are making you money, then you don't have a company anymore. You don't have a platform to stand on. It's all documentaries. Not that they're bad, just shows like Big Mouth pisses me off. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that show's actually dying. I actually wanted to bring this up as well. I feel like there's always a popularity spark in everything. Okay, this is a turn a switch situation. Every TV show or movie, or just in general, anything, there's a word that everybody says. There's never a point where too much is a good thing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You keep going on, you keep trying to milk this cow, and you try to really feel like you can do more with this and continue these TV shows and movies and these franchises. Guys, Fast and the Furious is pissing me off. That's one of the things I'm saying. Fast X was garbage. I don't care what anybody says. I'm done with that movie franchise. I just can't. Just sometimes you need to just let a franchise die. Sometimes you need to let a platform die. If you want to put your stuff on life support and act like people are going to continue coming back for it, which there are a few select people that will, people will foolishly believe that The Simpsons is still a good TV show after almost 40 years. It's not. I feel like that, the people who are watching The Simpsons right now aren't even the people it's, marketed to. Because I remember a time when we weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons because it was too adult. People drinking beer. I live in the South. I watch my Uncle Louie drink beer all the time. That's a fake name. I'm not saying that there's a real Uncle Louie, but I'm just saying there are people in my life as a 5-year-old that drank beer religiously. And living in the South. But there is a point to be made here. There is just too many things going on all at once when it comes to streaming services, and I just feel like at some point we're just not going to have streaming platforms anymore. Disney is actually kind of struggling a little bit as well. From what I hear, they're actually annexing some TV shows which include original content. They're removing the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which was an original TV show that only lasted 2 seasons. They canceled a lot of TV shows as well. They're struggling with trying to meet their quarterly when it comes to subscribers as well. HBO Max just changed their name. Don't know why. It's the same shit. You removed HBO, it's Max. How original. Max. I don't know. These streaming platforms are just kind of losing a lot of interest. I've seen it. They're stumbling while they're falling. It's like a Three Stooges situation. They're all tripping up on their own feet, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see streaming lasting any longer. I don't see these platforms really staying alive much longer. The people who they're trying to stay with Netflix and claim that they're doing a good job and this is a right decision, or that we're mooching off of them and we need to get a job and we need to do all this stuff. No, guys, there is no point where Netflix in the right, even if you try to use the excuse that people are just being lazy and mooching off of each other. I'm trying to use my sister's Netflix. My sister's Netflix, she's family. She lives like maybe 10 minutes away from me, and I shouldn't have to sit here and have her pay $8, or I have to pay $8 just to use her account. That doesn't make sense. Netflix used to, again, pride themselves in allowing people to share their passwords. They even made memes about it, not even like 5 years ago. It doesn't make sense. It really does alienate the consumer base and pushes people away to where they do start bootlegging again. You start using Pirate Bay again. These companies don't realize eventually people are just going to stop using them altogether. There may be a select few, but just like Blockbuster appeals to a specific generation, that's another thing. Blockbuster's roasting the hell out of them right now. But Blockbuster, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a comeback somehow. Who knows? But I do think that right now, I think streaming platforms are dying. I really do. I really think that it just doesn't appeal to people anymore. And I'm going to continue supporting physical media, by the way, because I prefer to own my content. I prefer to pick something up. Again, and people always ask this, why do you buy physical media? There is something about grabbing a movie or a TV show, something that you grew up with as a kid. Let me give you an example of something you can't stream anymore. Netflix used to have this. You can't stream it no more. There's something about picking up a physical copy of a movie, looking at the artwork, kind of taking yourself back a little bit and being like, I remember this, and just kind of putting yourself in a position of just really kind of turning it around, reading the synopsis, appreciating this whole idea of, I don't know, I like the look of something, you know? Posters appeal to me. Jesus Christ, I have a poster right there. I just prefer to hold something. I prefer to look at something. I prefer to be like, oh, it's all conveniently compressed into these 3 discs, and you got an episode guide. You have all this right here. That's all you need. Okay? I feel like that's all I need right there. You know, some of this stuff doesn't even have bonus features. That's another thing. Bonus content. I like to actually watch things behind the scenes. You know, the one time, every time I talk to somebody, let me explain this, and I'm going to end it in just a minute because my dog is barking and growling underneath the crack of my door. Every time I've asked someone, what's convenient about streaming? They will always sit there and pause for about 2 minutes, and they'll sit there and be like, it's easier than storing physical media. How? This is 3 towers of TV shows, and I'm trying to guess how many TV shows I could fit on here. This takes up maybe a little section of my house right here. Okay, this is a pretty small room, and I still have a bookshelf over here holding my Batman collection. I could probably put more movies and stuff on if I wanted to. I have a big bookshelf in my living room that takes up absolutely no space. It's actually form-fitted to be this thin, but have, you know, the movies kind of overlap a little bit, and it stores everything so perfectly where it doesn't feel like it's taking up a lot of space. If you guys were able to actually put more effort into actually buying the things that help you store your movies and your TV shows, it wouldn't be any more or less aggravating than you putting plates or Tupperware in a cabinet, you know? There are several movies and TV shows that still aren't on streaming. I Love Lucy, where several episodes are missing and all of Ricky Ricardo's songs are removed. That is another thing. Yeah. Okay, so there are heavily edited versions of these TV shows and movies being put out there and being said that when they're streamed, you've got to realize that some people catch the little things, okay? So, here's an example right here. This is probably one of the worst releases to ever come out of a TV show that I've ever wanted to have, physically. And same with, having it on a streaming service. Beavis and Butthead. I don't know why Viacom and Paramount wants to only put out the Mike Judge collection, which consists of like 3 volumes of the original series and season 4. But you know what sucks about this? The music videos are removed. One of the best parts of Beavis and Butthead was them reacting to some of the music of that time, right? They removed that because of copyright issues. And it sucks. I don't know what else to say. I'm kind of like drawing a blank here when it comes to sharing my opinions on stuff like that, because I understand why companies can't just sit there and take a Metallica song and shove it on a DVD, because of course Metallica will sue them for everything they got. But it sucks. It really does. Other TV shows and movies and stuff like that have been released. I got another example here. Come here, get it out. Right there. SNL Season 1. Saturday Night Live kind of falls into that same situation. Special guest stars, musicians. They don't give you permission to, put your voice on the DVD, you know? That sucks. If there's someone as a special music guest on SNL, there are some episodes where they just kind of completely cut away the music. You say, all right, now here's special musician guest, such and such, such and such. And it's just like, oh, hey, here's the next skit. They completely cut it out. It's unfortunate. It's just how it works, though. It's all about rights, copywriting, money, money. It's all that matters. Money. I don't know. That's all these companies care about, unfortunately. Yeah. Damn it, Natalie, I'm coming. All right, guys. My dog is calling me. Yeah, feel free to leave your opinions down below. Be nice about it. Jesus Christ, everybody has an opinion, but don't be a dick about it. And if you guys want to share your opinions down below, feel free to let me know what you think. Do you guys think streaming platforms are about to go the way of the dodo bird? I personally feel like it's probably got a good 5-6 years left, and eventually we're just going to all be bootlegging shit, or possibly end up just absolutely killing Hollywood and television in general. At least I can sit there and get a TV for cheap, because what's the point in having a television if you can't stream anything anymore? When I'm just going to sit here and use my dinosaur DVDs. I prefer to use this anyway. But guys, as always, if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back with more videos soon. I'll talk to you guys later.